Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us on this very momentous occasion. My name is Kim Kassar-Torgiani, and I am the Associate Vice President of Advancement at Thompson Rivers University, and I'll be your MC today. To begin, I want to acknowledge that today's announcement is taking place on the traditional lands of the Kamloops to Secwepemc, within the Secwepemc Ulu, the traditional and unceded territory of the Secwepemc people. I'd also like to acknowledge that TRU Williams Lake campus is located on the traditional lands of the Tehul, also within Secwepemc Ulu. Some housekeeping items before we get started. Just to keep all our guests healthy, please keep your masks on unless you're at the podium. And also, if you haven't had a chance, silence your cell phones. To welcome us today, we have Leona Thomas from Kamloops to Secwepemc, who is currently one of our 4 elders with the TRU Elder In-House Program. Leona.
Everyone. I'm not used to having a spotlight like this, so I'm going to really take advantage of it. Just kidding. Can I ask all of us to stand, please? Creator, thank you for a beautiful day, an opportunity to share gratitude, life's blessings, positivity, balance of life, acknowledgement and blessings to those who work so hard. Creator, we humbly ask you to reach out to those who are suffering, to the homelessness, to the young people. Help make them safer, their brighter future. Cookstrom, thank you. Okay, you can sit. I just want to add some of my thoughts around such a wonderful announcement that's going to be forthcoming. And I was sharing with a couple of the people upstairs that similar to our house being built, this doesn't get built without laying a solid foundation. And for me, in the acknowledgement here, it's to all the lay staff, the administration staff, these wonderful young ambassadors that are helping us sit down. Without their commitment, without their strength, and without their courage to reach out and try something new as they journey through life, that speaks well to where they're going to arrive at and end up at. For those who are all partnering in such a momentous occasion, I'll give my thanks to you, because this can be an incredible opportunity, as well as a challenge for those of us who are ready to meet that challenge. I hope every one of you have not only a good day, but a fantastic weekend with the family holiday coming up. Enjoy, for those of you who spend time with your family, enjoy that moment, enjoy that time. And if you can't be with them in person, reach out to them. Cookstrom, thank you so much.
Thank you, Leona, for that warm welcome. In just a moment, President Brett Fairbairn will tell you exactly why we've gathered here today. And because it is an exciting day for the university, we have a number of special guests joining us, and it's my pleasure to introduce them. As I introduce you, please stand up and be recognized. We're going to have some lights in the crowd for you so we can see you. Just starting with actually our Member of Parliament, Frank Caputo, who's joining us virtually from Ottawa. Mayor Ken Christian. Don't know if we could have some lights and so we can see you, Ken. And thank you for our city councillors, Bill Sarai, Arjun Singh, Dieter Duty, and Mike O'Reilly, who are joining us today. Thank you very much. And Councillor Dave Manuel, representing to Kamloops to Secwepemc. Hi, Dave. And from our TRU executive, it is my pleasure to introduce President and Vice Chancellor Brett Fairbairn, Interim Provost and Vice President Academic and Research Donna Murnahan, Vice President University Relations Brian Daly, our Board of Governors Chair Marilyn McLean, TRU Foundation President Brad Bennett, and the Dean of the School of Business and Economics, Mike Henry. We are also very pleased to welcome TRU's academic leadership in attendance today. And if I could ask all the deans that are here to please stand. We've got your names on the screen, I believe, so that we know who you are. Thank you so much for joining us today. And lastly, I'd like to introduce our Associate Vice Presidents from our TRU team. And I believe we have a slide. If you could stand up as well. I think there's a number of you here today. Thank you. You know, it's a special announcement when we have this many people joining us, so thank you very much. Tuning in from around campus, we have students joining us from our watch party. Woo! Pretty exciting. Welcome to you all. We'll be checking in with you during the announcement today to share in the excitement. This event is also being live streamed, so welcome to all our alumni, students, faculty, staff, and everyone else watching from around the world, including my own family. Now, it's my great pleasure to welcome President Fairbairn to the stage, to reveal why we're all here today.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you, Kim, and thank you, Elder Leona, very much for getting us started in a good way and thinking about the needs of people, thinking about what we're thankful for, and thinking about our students and the future. Those are great thoughts to set a stage for our announcement. My name is Brett Fairbairn. I'm President and Vice Chancellor here at TRU, and this is a historic day for TRU. Now, we all know that we're here in this room because TRU is a special university, and we're on a path to becoming extraordinary. We're special because of things like our community mindedness and the ways in which we include and support every student. And we're on a path to be extraordinary because of partners and transformative donors. And that's something we're going to hear about here today. So friends and colleagues, we're here today to honor the largest gift in the history of TRU, $10 million from the Gillardy family. And specifically, this $10 million gift to TRU is from the children of Bob Gillardy, who are also the grandchildren of Phil and Jenny Gillardy. They're making this gift in honor of their family's dedication to community service and in honor of their father. And of course, the largest philanthropic gift in the history of TRU is significant not only because of the dollar amount, but because of what it signifies. And in honor of Bob Gillardy, TRU is naming our business faculty the Bob Gillardy School of Business. This is the first faculty or school to be named at TRU. That was an important and thoughtful decision. I want to say a few words about why TRU is naming our school the Bob Gillardy School of Business. Beyond monetary value of the donation, Bob Gillardy embodies the values and the identity of TRU's business school, and his gift and his work align with TRU's values: local roots, a history of entrepreneurial spirit, a drive to build and to give back to the community. Nothing could signify better the values of our business school. The gift of $10 million is going to be of practical help to help TRU construct an academic building for the School of Business in the future, and to provide additional supports in research, programs, and financial awards for students in business and economics. That expanded infrastructure and that enhanced educational experience is going to make a real difference in the lives of students. This means opportunities, and it means our students will develop capacity and skills and understanding that will support our region and will support BC and beyond. And all of this made possible by the generous, the outstanding support of the Gillardy family. Thank you so much to the Gillardy family. You don't think that would be worth a standing ovation, do you? You know, until we shone the lights on the crowd, I couldn't see the placards in the back, and my goodness, what an event this is. What a day for TRU. We have a video that I'd like to introduce that will share a bit more about why Bob Gillardy, who Bob Gillardy is, and why this partnership is so significant for TRU. So let's have a look at that video.
You have to be determined and you have to be disciplined to follow your dream.
My dad has never forgotten where he came from and where it all started.
I grew up in Kamloops and witnessed my mother and father doing great things for that community. It's always going to be a special place for me. I actually lay out all these buildings. So I had determined that I was going to be self-employed and I wanted to build things. So I had a dream. I've been self-employed now for nearly 60 years.
Bob Gillardy is a very unique individual in the business community. He has built, along with his family, this enormous global enterprise in sports, in restaurants, in hotels, and other businesses. And yet he is probably one of the most humble guys you'd ever meet.
Northland, the company, was built by Bob Gillardy back in the 60s, and it started off from like the inns, and now it's come to be this monster parent company of a set of brands that are touching millions of Canadians a year. He's built the business knowing every aspect of it, from the construction side to the accounting side to the business side.
I've learned watching Bob that you're a lot more successful when you do things correctly rather than try to cut corners. Bob is a lot more ethical and he does things in a very thoughtful way. As he's built his business, he's built loyal employees and the business has prospered as a result of his leadership.
I've been with the company 41 years. I look up to Bob as a mentor, as a teacher, as a friend.
His resilience, his fortitude, he's just a really great example of what you can accomplish if you just put your mind to it and just don't take no for an answer.
My father is someone who instills confidence in you. He believes in you, he will support you, and he will make sure that you give it all you've got.
The Gillardy family, and Bob Gillardy in particular, have very deep roots in Kamloops and in the interior, and we're really thrilled to have them as part of building our school.
here in the interior, we really take our spirit from these lands of Secwepemcúlwch, where our campuses are located, and we're inspired by the beauty, by the interconnectedness, the sustainability, and the strength of these lands.
And we see ourselves as the school that connects the BC interior to the world.
TRU is this epicenter of diversity. It's people from local communities that use Kamloops as this hub for education, and it's also international students from all over the world learning together.
I've been able to meet people from Indonesia and Russia and become such good friends, and you get to see the perspectives of business around the world and how that's going to shape our community here.
When I was young and my father and mother convinced me that I should be going to university, they said that what university is ability to get confidence in your ability to learn. You need that confidence to be able to further your learning, but that's the start of your life.
The School of Business and Economics is one of our flagship faculties.
When you come and study at Thompson Rivers University in the School of Business and Economics, you're studying to become a business expert in finance and human resources. But equally important to that, you're studying and you're learning how to be part of a productive community, a community that you feel a part of, that you give back to, and that you build.
The gift that we're receiving, $10 million from the Gillardy family, is the largest philanthropic gift in the history of TRU. It's a transformative donation.
This $10 million gift from the Gillardy family is going to propel our student engagement, our research, and is going to be the foundation of building a School of Business and Economics on campus. Our university has chosen to honor Bob Gillardy by naming the School of Business and Economics the Bob Gillardy School of Business and Economics.
The decision was made as a family to donate the $10 million to the university. When they came back and said, we'd like to name the faculty the Bob Gillardy School of Business and Economics, we were touched.
This is the first opportunity our family's had to say, you know, Dad, this one's about you. This is about your business accomplishments and recognizing them.
I'm really excited about this donation and how it's going to impact that next generation. I think having a school that is based in integrity and community service is really pivotal to young people learning how to come out of school and actually go into the business world.
It certainly opens up the interior of BC for the next generations of leaders.
Our future as a country depends highly on the quality of our educational institutions, and TRU is an important piece of that.
As a student, this donation is absolutely incredible. You feel like your potential is being recognized. Someone is going, hey, you are worth this. We want to help you get there in any way.
I think it's so important for students to see that someone who comes from here, from a place like Kamloops, can be so successful but not forget where they came from, and so willing to support other students in their journeys.
It was a college when my father was there. It's now become a university. It's becoming more world-renowned. It's just growing in leaps and bounds. I hope it makes people look up who Bob Gillardy is, but I also hope it helps enrollment. I hope it helps more people in business school.
The opportunity of attending university and to achieve learning and have them follow their dreams is a wonderful thing. I wish them total success in their desires and their dreams going forward.
Thank you. While we were watching the video, you have noticed that we have been joined by some students who are wearing Bob Gillardy School of Business and Economics swag. Pretty exciting. And for the first time, and I've worked with this person for almost 7 years, for the first time, I would love to introduce Dr. Michael Henry, the Dean of the Bob Gillardy School of Business and Economics.
Thank you very much, Kim. I can't see anybody, but Bob, you're right here. I know that.
It just occurred to me as I was walking up here, I often say I'm honored to be the dean of our school, but now I'm honored to be the dean of the Bob Gillardy School of Business and Economics. It really is a true honor. And what I'd like to start off with, I know Bob is right here, and his daughter Andrea, who has been really working with us in creating this gift and creating this event. Could we turn the lights up, and could they stand and receive applause? There you are. Bob and Andrea, would you like to stand up? One of the things we've heard is that Bob has been the founder and creator, if I might, of a wide variety of businesses under the Northlands Corporation grouping. And I know that a number of people who have worked with Bob for a long time, who built their careers with Bob, are in the audience. And so turn up the lights again. And could I have all the Northlands staff please stand up and be acknowledged? There we go. Today is a very important day for our school. Attaching your name, Bob Gillardy's name, to the school sends a strong message. It sends a message that the interior, BC Interior, matters. It sends a message that this university matters. It says a message that the School of Business and Economics research and teaching matters, and perhaps most importantly, it sends a very strong message that our students and our alumni matter. So this gift, we've heard about the $10 million. What's that going to do? It's going to create a home for Sobe. And we've heard about a building project, et cetera, and that's very, very important. But even more important than that, in addition to a building, it's going to create an identity, and it's going to create a virtual, physical and virtual home for our school. The funds are going to go to supporting students to access business and economics education, regardless of their financial situation. It's going to recognize excellence in students, student performance. It's going to support research that makes a difference in the BC Interior. Bob, if I can speak to you directly, you and your family's commitment to work with our school beyond this gift and to help mentor our students and connect us to the wider business community means a great deal to us and to me. As a leader at business that goes beyond our country's borders, your name says that Thompson Rivers University is important not just in the interior, but across the country and internationally. Your name sends a message that the School of Business research contributions in addressing global issues and focusing on research that makes a difference in the BC Interior is important. Your name again says that our students matter, our alumni matter. You know, in our school, we prepare students for professions and careers in business, government, and the nonprofit sector. We help students discover who they are. We help them reach their potential. We help students find their place in the world. And whether it's formal education or whether it's learning from successes and perhaps not very successful experiences, we teach students how to learn. And as your parents said to you, it's important to come to university, not just to learn about something, but to learn how to learn and become a lifelong learner. Bob, as a role model, you have embraced learning, not only as a career preparation and doing your engineering degree, but you found out who you are and what your place is in the world. You've always reached higher for maximizing your potential, and you've always reflected back and learned from your experiences. Today, your commitment to your family, to your employees, to your community, and to the BC Interior and to Kamloops has a big impact. And for that, Bob, on behalf of our school, our university, and our community, my heartfelt thanks to you and to the Gillardy family, and we are excited to honor you in this way and to continue this very important relationship. So Bob, on behalf of all the students, faculty, and staff, in the School of Business and Economics, the Bob Gillardy School of Business and Economics, from our heart, Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much, Bob. It's my very pleasure to introduce somebody who has been a big supporter of our city, a big supporter of our university and our School of Business and Economics. His Worship Mayor Ken Christian is here. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. This is one of those times I kind of wish I had wrote a speech. But it has been my honor to follow the Gillardy family around Kamloops for the last little while. The Phil and Jenny Gillardy Tower at Royal Inland Hospital, a $15 million contribution. The Bob Gillardy School of Business here at Thompson Rivers University, $10 million. So Andrea, I'm liking this, and I have a few things to pitch you at lunch today. So several years ago, we signed a memorandum of understanding with Thompson Rivers University, and we have developed a relationship between the city of Kamloops and the university, and we have a researcher in residence program that's working very well, because myself and council have a lot of unsolved questions. We wonder about a whole bunch of things that happen in our community, and Thompson Rivers University is our research arm, and we are your laboratory. So as I think about economics and business, I think about the impact of COVID-19 on workplaces, not only here in Kamloops but beyond. What does that do to commercial space? I think about issues related to workforce demographics and workplace shortages. I think about things as recent as revitalization tax exemption bylaws and their impact on downtown. These are research questions that MBA students and undergrads here can address. But I believe that strong universities make strong cities, and strong schools of business make strong universities. So Bob, your contribution today makes this School of Business stronger, and we thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Christian. 5 years ago, I met Bob's son, Tom Gillardy. Tom graciously agreed to spend a day on campus meeting our business students and presenting to our community. This was the start of a wonderful relationship and partnership. Since then, I've had the opportunity to meet Bob and Andrea and work very closely with Andrea for this event, and my personal thanks to you and your team, Andrea, for all the work that they've done. The Gillardy family has shown such generosity and authentic interest in what the future holds for education and what difference they can make for us. I can't express enough personally how grateful I am to them for their investment in our students, TRU, and the community. It is my great pleasure, sincere pleasure, to introduce Andrea Gillardy to the stage.
So Ken, thank you for that. I think what I'll do, and still continue to give, but my time for the next little while, if that's okay with you. First of all, on behalf of my father, I'd like to thank you all for coming today. Thank you to our elder Leona. That prayer and blessing was not only a wonderful start to the day, but just the best way we could imagine beginning this opportunity. We're just so thrilled to be here today, my father and I, along with a number of our key and senior people. A big part of our team are here from Northland. And we're thrilled that they made the journey to help us to be in support of my father for this occasion. My siblings couldn't be here today, so I'm going to try to speak on behalf of the whole family. The good news is the lights are so bright and the room is so dark I can't see my father, so this may go okay after all. Years ago, when we first spoke to the university about an opportunity to help them with their building campaign, we just never imagined we'd end up here. We never imagined that they would come to us and say, we're absolutely trying to build, we're absolutely trying to create a new building just for the business school. But when they came back to us and said the best way that we could help their school, their business school in particular, was to put our father's name on the building and on the faculty. I mean, what an honor, what a privilege for my father and for our family. It would probably be wise at this point to speak of his accomplishments or his success, his business acumen. Maybe wise to sort of explain, like I said in the video, for those who don't know who Bob Gillardy is, maybe tell you a little bit about him and why the school gave him the honor of the naming. I'm not going to do that, however. I'd rather tell you a little bit about Bob Gillardy, share a little bit more of him, other than just the jeans and the cowboy boots you see every time he goes anywhere. I think the success of my father would be his family and his relationships and his community. I think his success is his tenacity, his never say never, and God help you if you ever say no. But I think where to start is right here, and the reason we're all here today, it's Kamloops, this town. Although my father wasn't born in Kamloops, this is still home for him. This is where his dreams and his goals began. We're here today because my father believed in himself, and with that confidence went off to university in Texas to work to earn a degree. This is kind of a fun story, sorry Dad, but didn't do so well at university at the beginning. And was told, in fact, maybe a trade school would be better for him. Not everybody was cut out for school. My dad had an interesting choice to make, to pull up his socks and to just really focus on his studies. And that's exactly what he did. And not only did he graduate, but he graduated early, compressing his degree to make it possible. But one of my favorite stories about my father would be when he was asked to speak to a group of businessmen. Somehow, I don't know how it happened, just like it did today, I ended up on the stage. They all arrived to hear words of wisdom from somebody who apparently had the magic pill or answer or whatever it was to get rich or to be successful. So we're sitting in chairs just like this. This is sort of a little bit of a PTSD situation for me right here. And the microphone, and they asked the question, and my father would sometimes take the microphone from me and sometimes put his hands in his lap and collapse them in his hands. And so I found myself trying to figure out a way to get him to answer their question. So this went on for way too long. So finally, somebody stood up at the very end, and the last question, someone said, "Okay, Mr. Gillardy, how did you do it? How did you get successful? How did you get rich? How did you do it?" My father looks at me, and I can tell he's just going to leave the microphone in my hand. So I turned to give it to him, but accidentally, my hand slipped and it fell, ended up in his lap. He had to answer the question. There was a few moments of tense silence, a few ums, and for those that know him, that's a bit of a regular occurrence, but you know he's thinking, because all of a sudden he starts to speak. He says, "I play tennis." I'm thinking to myself, did you hear the question? I'm wishing I hadn't maybe given him the microphone, but I have faith, so I wait. He says, "When you serve, you call out the score." And I don't know for those of you that play tennis, but you call out the score, and the score of the servers, the first score set. So at this point, he says, the score's love 40. So he doesn't say anything right away. I guess he's thinking people will imagine that process. He says, "So this is a bit worrisome. The crowd, is getting a bit quiet." And he continues to say, "So not only is it love 40, but I'm down love 5. A set is to 6. So he says, "You know, so I'm in this game and I'm about to serve." And he says, "And I think the entire time I'm going to win." Now, anyone who knows anything about tennis should realize at this point he's an idiot or insane. But that is my father. There's not one moment during that game that he's losing poorly or badly. He still thinks he's got this, and he still thinks the entire time he's going to not only win that game, but the next 7 to win the set. I think the difference for him is that he never lost sight of his dream. It's his tenacity. It's his desire to accomplish the dream that started here in Kamloops when he was young. So this recognition today for my father just validates how he's lived his life. It's how he's managed to maintain his morals and values while doing business. It's proof or recognition that he's lived his life well in business. This process has been rewarding and humbling and an achievement beyond belief for my father and for our family. I'd like to thank the mayor and the council members for attending today, to TRU, specifically to the dean, to Brett, the president, to Kim and her team. It's just been a joy to work with on this process. On a personal note, I need to thank Pam, because she's a rock star and she made all of this happen for us on the Northland side. To the Northland team that are here, to friends and family that came out. I'm just going to finish by saying, and it might be better if it was said by him, but I could probably wager that today, and this recognition, is probably more than a dream for my father. Thank you very much.
Andrea. Thank you so much, Andrea. We're going to take a little look at our watch party now that they have heard the news. Let's see how they're doing. Woo! Awesome. That is wonderful. Wonderful. We've got a large group watching in a couple of other rooms. It's really wonderful to see all those students, and I believe we have faculty there as well. Big thank you to Andrea. Thank you so much. I also want to thank you also, Bob, and thank you for being here in person with us today, and of course for this transformational gift to the university. At this time, we are going to have the opportunity to speak to Bob. So I'm going to invite Bob Gillardy up to this stage, and he is going to have a chance to answer a couple of questions from a TRU Masters of Business Administration student, Andrea Fernandez. And we'll see how that goes after how Andrew described. We've got microphones up here, but come on up, Bob. And this is a chance where we'll be able to hear a little bit maybe about Bob's journey in person. Understanding is that they're easy questions, so we'll see.
Thank you, Mr. Gillardy, for your generous gift to TRU. My name is Andrea Fernandez, and I'm an MBA student. Your experience in business is a credit to you and the school. I wonder, what is the best business advice you've ever received? Could you shine some light on it?
I guess it sounds different for me. I grew up in a family that public speaking was not what I did, because my father and my mother were both Pentecostal ministers. So if anybody ever wanted somebody to talk, they sure didn't ask me, who I stumbled with. And then I got 4 children, and each and every one of them are capable of expressing themselves far better than I in this type of environment. So that's the reason why I did realize at one point in my life that it was a bit important. So I went to Dale Carnegie I don't know if you all know what that is, but it's supposed to help you in public speaking. But I found that I kind of gave up on that because there was far too much competition for me within my own family, and I wanted them to excel anyway. So that was fine. So that's maybe an answer why I don't try to stay away from public speaking. But, anyway, the answer to the question. The question is, what advice did I get that would be beneficial? And so I've known that this question was going to be asked, and I thought about it because each and every day we have the ability to learn. It's not a once, you know, every day you wake up, you have ability to advance yourself. You have ability to learn further. You have opportunity. So what I tried to relate to is what was kind of made a significant difference when I was in and around the ages of the people that are attending the university here. And so a first advice that I've got, which has already been expounded, is that I didn't want to go to university. In fact, I was adamantly against it. In fact, I never even took the proper courses so I could advance into university. So I explained that to my parents, and they said that I had to, that was they didn't say I had to, but I guess it wasn't as prominent back then as it is today. I believe there were 120 graduates from the high school in 1959, and I'm sure there 10 or less people went on to university. It wasn't something we did so much then. And so to get to university, I had to, first of all, accept what my mother and father decided that I should do. And because of my respect for them, I did agree with them, which meant I had to go to Vancouver during the summer and upgrade myself on 3 courses at a facility there called SurePass to get my entrance. So that was that advice was unbelievably meaningful, and the advice that you're not going to become the ability to learn is what you're going to learn in university, and the ability to have confidence in yourself to learn. My father, because he only had grade 7 university, was always had an inferiority complex about gaining further knowledge because he didn't have confidence to do that, and he explained that to me, and so that was very meaningful. The second thing that was after I had graduated from university, and I had decided that, well, I had decided since I was 12 years old that I wanted to be self-employed and I wanted to build things. I didn't know what that meant, of course, when you're 12, and as you gain more knowledge about the world, of course, you begin to understand exactly it's not quite as easy or as, but you have this dream that you're trying to achieve, and so I was back, came back from university, and I guess I was 21, and I graduated at 21, although I didn't graduate until I was 22. There was, but because the ceremony didn't happen but once a year, and I got finished in mid-semester. But so I was able to, you know, share my dream with my father that I wanted to be self-employed, and I wanted to try to find an avenue to make a living and try to prosper. And so he agreed that I could do that, and he helped me because monetarily my father gave everything away he ever made to the work that he was doing, and so he agreed to sign a note at the bank, which allowed me to start. So I was exploring different things, and I was kind of lost a little bit, and you know, just trying to figure out what I should do, and so I had certain thoughts and certain ideas that were not crystallized, but I was thinking about them. So I used to go, I was living at home with my mother and father, and because Vancouver was where all the larger industries were, larger companies and had offices, I used to go down there and try to see what I could do by calling on them and trying to exploit opportunity. And so it was during the evening when I used to go down possibly on Sunday night and then drive back on Sunday or Friday night. And as I was driving back this Friday night from Vancouver, going to Kamloops to be with my parents, I was listening to Pat Burns on the radio, and back then Pat Burns, along with Webster, had a talk show that were popular. And this evening, Pat Burns had the very prominent family from Texas that H.L. Hunt was the founder of some of us might know today Hunt Ketchup in Texas, but he was large in the oil industry and large in farming, large in ranching, and at that time was the richest man in the world. So he was, if one could, not that was my thoughts, but I certainly thought like I could maybe learn something from him. So I was driving back, and Pat was interviewing H.L. And he asked a question of H.L. He said, "What is the single most important thing that you've learned that it has made this a significant influence in your success?" So I'm just about passing back then Chilliwack, and as you're driving there, the radio used to cut off on me. So I wanted to hear this so bad I stopped my car, turned it around, and drove back to listen to his answer. And his answer was, he said, "Pat," he said, I've been I've been asked that question many times, and consequently I've given a lot of thought to it. And I think the solution is, or the answer is that I never went to school. So here I'm, just out of university. So Pat said to him, well, how could that be? How could that make a major influence? Well, he said, the reason I got home learning from my mother, and I learned how to read, write, and arithmetic. And I guess he got an equivalent of 7 or 8 years of school. And but he said, I didn't have an opportunity to go any further, and I didn't have the opportunity to go to university. So he said, what happened was that I was trying to do things, and I wasn't able to have the learning or the teachings that. So I had to figure everything out myself, and so he said, I didn't have anybody to follow. I didn't have an answer to some of the issues that I was facing. So I came to, I analyzed them and came to my own conclusions, and sometimes I made the right decision, and hence that's the reason why I am successful. So I thought about that, and I thought, well, I've already, gone to university. I guess I have a process of thinking that allows me to utilize the learning that others before me have had and are teaching others. But I thought the other side of that would be that, okay, here I am, I have a great ability to learn because I've been to university, I have confidence that I can have. So why not, use that and try to ask yourself constantly, why are we doing it that way? Is there a better way to do it? And possibly challenge the existing way we did business. So I know I've used up all my time, I'm sure. So, but that stage of my life did change my thoughts to the point where my philosophy changed, and I accepted that through my business life, and as I still do today.
Thank you, Mr. Gillardy, for sharing your personal experience with us. The Bob Gillardy School of Business and Economics gives students from TRU a greater identity going out into this world. This gift to TRU adds to students' recognition and success. But when we leave TRU, we will be faced with many challenges outside in the world. What is the biggest professional challenge you have ever faced, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, it's hard not to, so many challenges in business, and so many times you make mistakes, and when you play hockey, you don't always win by 5 goals. Sometimes they score 4 or 5 against you, so it's everything else, can go wrong, sometimes does go wrong. And it's always, you have to take the losses along with the gains, but you still have to fight to try to win the game. But I guess, you know, to answer that question, truthfully, I have to say that the largest challenge that our company faced was in 1980, I guess, going through into 1983. At that 1980, I guess I would have been 39 years old. And we had built at that time approximately 20 hotels plus some other assets, restaurants, and because I had to borrow most everything to build hotels, I had a lot of debt, and so I was capable of servicing the debt, okay, but I hadn't back in that year, those years, the banks didn't have a mortgage rate. You used to always pay prime plus, and it was always term mortgages. Or I'm sorry, you didn't get a 5-year term or something. It was open. So it was different, a little different era. So at that time, I remember owing approximately $220 million. And that doesn't sound like too much today, but how many years ago, I don't know what the multiple would be, but it'd be more than 200, I guess. Anyway, and into 1991, the interest rate, because Reagan was fighting inflation, and our rate, which used to be around 10 to 12%, went from that number all the way up to, I think during the course of 1981, I think we paid 21.6% for all of that money that we owed, and I wasn't able to service it. So the only thing one could do back then would be to banks would normally foreclose on you, and you would end up losing, at that point in time, nearly 20-some years of hard work building the company to that point. And so I didn't know what to do. There wasn't really a good answer. But I decided that I was going to try to do everything conceivable in my power to try to keep the company and somehow be able to satisfy the debt that I owed. And somebody, a young lawyer during that time walked into my office, and he said that during his time in university, he was able to do some study on bankruptcies in Canada, and he thought there may be an opportunity to do something that was done in the turn of the century for railroads when the government introduced a legislation that enabled people to make an appeal for a company's creditors arrangement act, which was setting out benefits that could be derived by each class of the people that were involved in it, the lenders, the people payables, the owners, etc. And you presented a plan to the government, or to the courts, and you asked their approval. So from 1981 till 1989, was a very, very difficult time, because during that period of time, the bank, who were terribly cooperative, really, it was the situation, and so we weren't able to. The economy didn't come back, and the interest rates didn't come down as significantly, and now we had a whole bunch of debt added back up. So there really wasn't much of an opportunity except this CCAA, and what we went through there was to try to have every class vote to have approval of the plan, and if that was granted, then the plan would succeed. So fortunately enough, we were able to get each of the players to succeed, to agree, and we emerged in 1989 with a company that was beaten but not broken, and we started again in building the company. So I put in 8 years of very hard times. We weren't able to expand, and weren't able to, and I would work constantly on trying to get people to loan money to me so I would be able to pay the banks, but difficult time, and I believe, being a devout Christian, that the chances I had were less than 1 in a million, I was told, and yet we survived it, and so maybe the Lord had something in for us to accomplish, and maybe this might be part of it.
Thank you, Mr. Gillardy, for sharing your business experience and advice with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. Bob, I'm going to ask you to stay up on the stage for a moment, if you just stay. And Andrea, I don't know if you wouldn't mind coming back up for a moment. We are about to conclude today's announcement, but I did want to, one more time, acknowledge this wonderful donation, and also, once again, honoring Bob Gillardy by today, our business school at Thompson Rivers University is officially the Bob Gillardy School of Business and Economics. I'm excited to tell you that we already have signage unveiled at the business school, and we have a new media wall, which I'm going to ask the members of the media that are here to just join us on the right of the stage. We'll have our speakers over there that you can interview, and Andrea will be available as well. And otherwise, this concludes our program for today. Thank you very much for coming. And one more time, I would really like to thank the Northland group that traveled here today to join us. And it's a very big group, and we're really appreciative. Thank you.